I have big news. In this video, I'm going to be interviewing the Toronto VGC Regional Champion. We are going to be going over his exact team, Mr. Cary D'Ortona, every spread, every single game in his run, and how you can actually beat every single team he placed in every single matchup. So if you have EUIC coming up, Seattle coming up, Houston, any regional around the world, this team might just be the best team in the format. So if you're an experienced player who wants to win a championship or a new player who wants to use this game online, this team, the link is in the description. The PokePaste is right there. So is the rental code. So watch this video. Let me know what you think. And there's even a bonus interview for advice for all players on how to actually win the championship. Okay, I had that in the video. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll catch you later. Peace. Right now, we have Mr. Cary D'Ortona, your Toronto 2026 regional champion, the roaring mid savior, Mr. Cary D'Ortona. How you doing, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing good. Just like 2 weeks after the event, so it's like still all settling in and stuff, and then EUIC in 2 weeks, so trying to figure all that out. So it's going good.
Dude, how does it like feel though? I remember 1 year ago, not even a year, maybe a year now, maybe 6 months. We did a team report after Portland where you got top 4, and you were like, "Oh my God, you were so close!" And you were like telling me about all the different turns and how you were this close to beating Gavin.
Yeah.
Dude, fast forward to now, you sat up there on stage, my boy, and you won the regional championship. Your very first. How does it feel?
It feels like unreal. It's very hard to, well, not hard to believe, but it's just when I beat Paul like on the stage, like it's like I felt like all the work that I did was like worth it. Like it's like it showed the time and the effort I put into it. It felt very rewarding.
Yeah.
But it was just like it's very hard to explain. Like it was like I was just very happy. Like it wasn't like oh my gosh, like it was just like I did it. Like I achieved it. Like I did what I set out to do. So I was just I don't know, awestruck is the best way to put it, I guess.
Yeah, man. I mean, all of us dream of being in that moment, right? Like you were up there and you did like not the impossible, but you had a really hard run. You went 15-1. Like just to show you guys what I'm talking about, guys. He went 15-1 and about 800 players there were, and there he is on the top of the mountain, beating players like Paul Chua, Kylan Van Severen, Aaron Brok, Brendan Zheng. So many good players. And you did it in fashion as well with a really cool team that many people weren't really, respecting as much going into the tournament. And there you are at the top. So, guys, if you're watching this video right now, I want you to just like leave a comment, give me some congrats to my boy Cary in the comments right now. Because in this video, what we're going to be doing for you all is going over his team, which is right here. I have the spreads pulled up. We're going to be going over his team, all the EVs, what they do, what matchups they're good against, things he would change and make different. We're going to literally be talking about everything that can be talked about this team, okay? We're going to be breaking it down for you guys. After we do his team, we're going to be going over all his entire run from round 1 versus Jesse Gell to beating Paul Chua, 6-time regional champion in finals. So, and everything in between, from matchups, what he would do, but also how he would play the matchups and giving you guys the advice to use this team yourself and do it that way. So, yeah, guys, this is all for you. And again, we're really excited to dive into it. One thing I'll say is that, to grow, you got to be consistent. And what I want you guys to be able to do is have that. So with this team, I created a 30-day challenge for you to get better and progress, following this 30-day schedule that you can only spend, maybe an hour a day learning to get better. Comment the word badge challenge, and I'll send it to you right now so you can use Cary's team and grow along the way. But Cary, let's go into it, man. Let's talk about the sauce. So this is your team. Slip and dip 45. Tell me like what's this? Where does this team where did the idea first come? Tell me about the origin of this squad.
Okay, so the origins go all to Patrick. I came in later in the process. I mostly just the final 6 was already kind of like decided. It was mostly just like sets, Terras, EV spreads, and game plans, which is what I more assisted with.
Yeah.
But the 45 in the name is because this is the 45th iteration of the team.
Wow.
It was long process, went through many different forms because like Pat would send all the different versions to me. Like the first one I don't think even looked too close to this. I mean, it had 3 out of the same 6. It was like Urshifu, Landorus, Incineroar, Farigiraf, Rillaboom, and Chien-Pao, which is like
Okay.
nowhere similar to this. But
Yeah. V1. It was V1.
But what Patrick told me when we were like discussing it and stuff was he wanted to make a team that had a good matchup into Raging Bolt balance, but then also could be playable into size spam compositions.
Everyone, I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. Right now, I'm just doing some editing, and I forgot to include an access to one of my free guides where I give you guys an ebook on how to actually get better at the game. If you want the roadmap that I use to qualify for Worlds, I call it the Pokemon Worlds roadmap. Just comment roadmap if you have those big goals like me, like Cary, and you want to get better too, and use this team to maybe help you get there. All right, comment the word roadmap below. I got you, okay? Peace, guys. See ya. Enjoy the video. Okay.
So then this is where it all came around. And luckily, when bold Fluttermanes started popping up, Roaring Moon started to look a lot better and better as Roaring Moon began to started to outspeed a lot of these very bulky Fluttermanes that are going slower than the max speed Jolly Roaring Moon. So that's like the main reason why it ended up working out. But yeah, that was like the main starting idea behind it.
Yeah, so the idea really was, can we be good into balance, be good into size spam, and then now with Flutter on the rise, really leading to this whole Roaring Moon max speed idea because we're like outspeeding everything. I remember another good YouTuber, CK49, posted a video breaking down some speed tiers that he's seeing with these Fluttermane in the Victory Road tournament, and almost all of them were slower than this Roaring Moon set. So the value is insane, especially because also Tornadus is not common with those kind of teams. So you're really controlling a lot of the game, which I think is great. So tell me then from here, like walk me through, like, okay, so you know you're gonna use Roaring Moon, like that seems like that, like the constant. So how did you get to this 6? Like how did you arrive here? Walk me through the Pokemon, like kind of step by step, like in terms of how they got there, the importance of them. Just break down the individual Pokemon to me.
So first off is Roaring Moon or Ichiban. Named him Ichiban because Ichiban means the best. Also because I was playing Yakuza Like a Dragon at the time. So if anyone knows Ichiban Kasuga, that's the other reason. So Ichiban, so the idea behind this spread is it's supposed to be able to live Urshifu max adamant close combat after a breaking swipe or an intimidate. That way you don't have to burn Terra immediately on the moon to poison, which poison is there not only as a fighting resist, but also to fairy. It's also just a good defensive typing overall in this meta. It's like very neutral in like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like psychic being its only weakness, which Roaring Moon is good into anyways, so it ends up working out. And then the speed was all like it's good to be 252. The main reason why it was 252 instead of something lower, because a lot of flutters were slower than 188 anyways.
Yeah.
Was because if we were ever to swap out Moon, it would still be faster than max adamant Chien-Pao.
Yep.
Which is the most common Chien-Pao spread at the moment. So that's the reason why we left it as
187.
252.
Yeah.
189
without the booster, so it's still after the 187.
Yeah. So then there's that. Otherwise, like the moveset's pretty simple: protect, knock off, breaking swipe, tailwind. We went with breaking swipe instead of the usual terra flying acrobatic stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, main reason is because breaking swipe enables a lot of the offense on this team, allows you to play a bit more bulky offense. It also does really good chip because it's a stab spread move because it's a dragon type. Yep. So it's really good into like the Ogre Pawns, Incineroars, Rillabooms. Also does a good chunk to Raging Bolt as well if you can if you bring it to like the Assault Vest ones, for example. So it's like really useful at damage mitigation and being able to like just sit on the board, tank hits, and like just chip things into range of like your Urshifu or your Landorus, etc. So there's that.
I think it's really interesting, right? Because typically we're always seeing the flying and an acro, but this was like almost supporting as like it's still a support. It's leading more to the support side, but it still just does so much damage because Roaring Moon just is attack stat is so insane.
Right. It's also because it's stab. Are there some board states where it does feel weak? Yeah, that mainly into like certain Incineroar comps if you decide to bring it into, but like otherwise, like the damage was like very good, mainly because stab knockoff, and then like Even though Breaking Swipe is a weak move, it's still stab, and then it's good chip anyways.
And both have really good secondary effects as well, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's like the main thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, special defense, I'm assuming an attacker just there to put some points in there. But the main calc was the Urshifu pulse combat, and then just running that max speed.
Yep, those were the main things.
Yeah.
Next one on the chopping block, I guess I'll say, is Gholdengo.
You were talking to me at Toronto. I was seeing you, and you were like smiling, talking about this guy. Like he was the one you enjoy talking about. You said, "Bro, Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam." That's what you kept saying to me, bro.
It's really good. Gholdengo, otherwise Wrath of Greed. He is so Gholdengo is one of the best pieces on this team. It was very, very good into the meta, which Patrick identified, especially with the fairy coverage, because you get this fun little, as we like to call it, bootleg Zacian, which you get you get steel and fairy coverage, which is like absolutely disgusting in this format, both being spread. And by putting on Terra Fairy, not only do you give a good defensive Terra for Gholdengo that's neutral into a lot of things, but also resists dark type stab. You also get very strong specs Dazzling Gleams that can like do so much damage. Like it's OHKOing certain. It's like can OHKO Urshifu.
It's literally a fairy type make it rain once you Terra.
Yeah, slightly weaker, but basically, yeah, it just does a lot of damage. It hits a lot in the format. Probably the most the moves that I clicked the most on Gholdengo was Make It Rain and Dazzling Gleam, and then Shadow Ball, kind of. I think the only time I clicked Trick was on stream versus Brendan Zheng, and it didn't even really matter. So, just a funny little thing with Gholdengo where you're basically always clicking spread. It just felt like ridiculously strong in the tourney in regards to like that. And then the stat spread's pretty simple. We just had the EV'd so that way it could get like you already are going max HP on Gholdengo if you're running it like slow bulky with specs and stuff, but we made sure it was like optimized for grassy terrain recovery, so that way it's getting the optimized HP every turn. We went 4-4 in both defenses, and then 116 speed. The 116 speed was very deliberate because it outspeeds, if I remember correctly, all gouging fires in Tailwind, like if they're like those speed booster gouging, which was like the most important thing. And 116 was important because into the Flutter Harkonine matchup, if they clicked Icy Wind into Gholdengo after Tailwind was up, Gholdengo always outsped Hisuian Arcanine. After this,
or Max Adamant.
Yeah, Max Jolly. It always outsped Max Jolly. Great. So that way you could get off a Make It Rain, kill the Flutter, kill the Harkonine, and just be in like a really good board state. So yeah.
Nice. And then the attack was just left over, just dumping into Modest.
Yeah, we put the 4. So like you could argue that the 8 could have been put into speed or another stat, but we didn't really see a use for the speed at that point. And then we actually found that there was like very slight small rolls that changed by it being 140 in comparison to 132, if I remember correctly. So that was the main reason why we just put it in there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the Gholdengo is cool. So tell me, like, did you feel like why did you choose to go with the Fairy Gleam? Was there a certain reason, like, or why? Also, again, like people I've always seen go Steel on specs. So I'm just curious on your end, like, why did you go? Like, did it make a difference in certain matchups to that level? And also, like, would you make any changes? Like, would you change Trick now that you've never clicked it? Or how do you feel about this Gholdengo?
So in terms of Gholdengo, I think on specs you always need Trick. That's just like a given, mainly because it's just good at pinning certain board states or punishing certain plays. Like, for example, you could bring Gholdengo in the Raging Ball Balance matchup and then like trick it when it goes for let's say Dragon Pulse, and then like you Terra Fairy or Gholdengo, now it can't touch you, or you trick it when it went for Thunderclap, and now it can't touch your Landorus, for example. So it's like or Trick Room, etc., etc. Like it's always important to have Trick, but like I said before, main reason with Terra Fairy is just good defensive Terra, and it just allows Gholdengo to stick on the board longer in comparison to Steel. You can actually see, I believe, in Justin Tank's stream match, like where Terra Steel was nice for threatening burst damage, but it did get pinned down by the Incineroar when he was playing into it, because the Incineroar was just able to click Flare Blitz into it. So it just has like both offensive and defensive applications that give Gholdengo more coverage and threaten more.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. I think it's very thought out. I think, again, together, these things it's a really good duo, right? So I know these are the first two that came to your mind first. What was piece number 3 on this puzzle?
So piece number 3, we're gonna go with Mr. Landorus, or the Granite Man.
Granted, man. A lot of spread
Yeah,
damage, dude. You have Breaking Swipe, Make Your Rain, Gleam, Sandsear. You have a lot of spread moves everywhere, bro.
yeah. Spread is very strong in this format, especially on the mons that have it. Specifically the special attackers, like just absurd amounts of damage.
Facts.
Um, Landers, pretty simple spread. This is like a fairly common spread that a lot of good players use. Usually it's this spread or the like 196, 52 HP spread, but we figured that this one was better for this kind of team, mainly because allows Lando to stick on the board longer and threaten more damage. Terra Steel, many were wondering why we didn't go like Terra Poison, for example. Terra Steel is more of a guarantee into the Psy Spam matchup. Also, just a really good defensive Terra all around that makes Lando stick on the board longer in comparison to Poison. So that's like the main reason. And then in terms of like move selection, pretty standard set. You're always going to have Earth Power and Sludge Bomb and Protect on your Landorus, but the like many probably wonder like why Sandsear Storm. We figured we didn't really need substitute because we had enough spore immunes with our Gholdengo and our Amoonguss. So we figured Sandsear Storm could be better at pinning up certain board states and just threatening more offensive coverage in the tail end.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I think looking at this, I mean, part of me thinks that you might have went Steel because you already kind of had Poison already on the Moon. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that makes sense to me there. And then, yeah, I mean, this makes sense as well. The spread does the offense, even though I know you said it's a common spread, but for anyone watching at home, do these damage or bulk stats do anything specifically that like lets you safely do anything that you feel like people at home from?
It's mainly for Terra Water Surging Strikes from like non like Mystic Water Urshifu, like your like Sash Urshifus or your Scarf Urshifus. It usually guarantees that survive, or Terra Dark Urshifu with Wicked Blow. Another example just guarantees that you survive those attacks. Like I believe most of the time, I think it's only like a 6.5% chance to Oko or something like that.
Yeah.
And then 116 hits the bump. You put 4/4 in the defenses, and then you just dump in speed. So that way you always outpace Adamant Urshifus and stuff like that, and speed tie other modest Landos.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, that makes sense a lot. I think Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, Sandsear Storm is cool, man. Whenever I use it in practice, the damage output is just so nice. Like you just see both health bars shoot. It's like it's like Make It Rain, right? Like that's really what it is. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty self-explanatory about the Lando. Let's keep it going. What was mon number 4 for you? So you have these 3. You just have like Tailwind, boom, damage. Like, do you feel like you kept leaning into that with this Urshifu, or did you go kind of more? What was mon number 4 on this team?
So I definitely think it's like the way that Pat told me that this team really started out was Urshifu, Landorus do damage. So then we have so I'm gonna go with the Urshifu here. So we have the Urshifu. So yeah, we have Shido, the Urshifu. So there's a lot of the main interesting tech of this Urshifu is Terra Fire. So Terra Fire might seem unintuitive at first, but it's actually very, very good. Not only do you get to keep the fairy resistance of like what the other Mystic Water Urshifus run, which is like poison and steel. The main thing is that you get a really good matchup into Heart Flame Balance, which is what we saw in the finals, where I used it there a lot. And it was just like very strong at being annoying into certain balance comps and just guaranteed lines into that more effectively. And then it also just has like additional benefits of like you don't have to worry about getting burned. And just it's just a good you continue to resist Make It Rain and stuff like that. It's just like a good defensive type overall, and like you have enough pieces on this team to handle opposing Urshifu that it's really not that big of a deal. Like you have your own Amoonguss, you have Rocky Helmet and Incineroar, et cetera, et cetera. And then so we went with the Mystic Water or Splash Plate item to increase the damage output. Mystic Water is probably my favorite item on Urshifu currently. Just does so much damage, just guarantees KOs. It also allows you to run like a very nice, like bulky set that's able to like take a hit, respond back with damage, or just be a nuisance with support. So I knew 100% for this regional I wanted to run Mystic Fu. So when I saw it on this team, I was like, I like it a lot. The spread overall is very generic. Like I wouldn't there's not really much that the bulk is for otherwise besides like good rolls into like Earth Power and Thunderclap mainly. but the attack and speed are very specific. So the attack on the Urshifu is 188. This should usually kill most Chempows through Focus Sash.
Okay.
And then the speed was also very deliberate. So the speed is when you're in Tailwind, you always outspeed max speed Roaring Moon. Like, let's say there was an opposing Roaring Moon that got a dragon that was like the attack booster variant that got a speed boost from like Dragon Dance or something. You're always outpacing that.
Okay.
Or if there's like an opposing speed booster moon that's like max speed, you're always outpacing that as well in Tailwind. So that was like the main decision behind that speed stat. And then very normal Urshifu set with Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, Protect.
Yeah, definitely. I think you kind of just find like, okay, I'm gonna calc this thing to kill certain things it needs to KO, and just outspeed things it has to outspeed. And where the bulk, it's like you still have relatively favorable rolls. Would you change anything about this spread, or no? You think this is like as good as the Urshifu spread can be for you?
I think you could argue to drop some speed and invest in bulk and attack. But I found what was really nice is I outsped all the Urshifus I played against.
Against all the other Mythic Water ones.
Yeah, so that was like really nice to be able to outpace those and then like pin with other slots. So the speed overall was nice, but I could see a justification for lowering speed, investing in other points, like maybe a bit more attack to guarantee certain rolls, or a bit more special defense to guarantee certain rolls into Landorus, Raging Bolt, etc.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I feel like so far you all the changes you said you would have made would be very like small. Nothing really large. I mean, Urshifu maybe the most with some speed, maybe, but you had the benefit of again it like outsped all the mirrors as well, which is super valuable for you. So now we have the named him Morhall again, which I think is so great. But last team. But now you have the iconic duo, Amoonguss.
Amoonguss, yeah.
Walk me through one. Also, I'm gonna just grab something. I heard a knock on the door. I'll just keep continuing.
Yeah. All good. So the idea behind the Incineroar is it's supposed to be a bulky piece that's able to sit on the board, and it also allows us to have more balance checks. With Intimidate, it allows the team to be bulkier in tandem with the Roaring Moon, gives you Fake Out plus Surging Strikes, Fake Out plus Earth Power, Fake Out plus Make It Rain. It just allows you to enable your offense a lot more effectively. It also enables you to be able to reposition your board around and be able to make defensive pivots. The other thing is that with the Rocky helmet, it becomes very effective into balance. A lot of the physical heavy matchups, mainly because you're just able to chip them down. But the important things to get to with this Incineroar is mainly the spread. Yeah. So the spread with 252 HP and 188 defense, you should live Surging Strikes from any non-boosted Urshifu. That includes like Terra or Mystic Water, for example, which was really nice and did come up at points during my run. It just enables you to like take a hit, parting shot out, and be able to preserve Incineroar for later for a fake out.
The helmet is so nice. You always know you live, and you always know they get shit on with that chip.
Yeah, and it also chips them in range of the Urshifu or the Landorus. It's just very good at repositioning in that way. Then 4 attack is pretty standard. 28 defense was kind of just to bulk it out a little bit, give it a little bit of special defense on that side. Not anything in specific other that comes to mind. But then, if I remember correctly, the speed is so that we are outpacing like Urshifu and some Landorus and Tailwind mainly.
Okay. But adamant and modest ones.
Yeah. But the tech move on this Incineroar, or the tech Terra, is flying. So for the longest time, it was Terra Grass Incineroar. And so we were talking about our matchups and stuff, and we were finding that the group as a collective, we kept running into an issue with Landorus Incarnate and Tornadus Incarnate on certain HO Tailwind teams, or the Wolf Balance team that won Orlando.
Okay.
Mainly just because they can kind of click Sandsear and Bleakwind unpunished. They get priority Tailwind, Earth Power, 2-hit KOs, a lot of stuff on the team. Excuse me.
You're good.
And then 196 Lando is also really scary, which is a very common on those Tornadus teams because it just does a lot of damage with Earth Power, Sludge Bomb. So it's just very obnoxious and annoying. So Patrick came up with the idea, and he was like, what if we went Terra Flying? And everyone on the team was like, we don't hate that idea. Because then what we're able to do is we could Terra Flying our Incineroar, parting shot off the Landorus, click Tailwind with our Roy Moon to protect, to stall a turn, get in our offensive piece, and now Landorus has reduced damage, so then we can threaten on the next turn, which is very, very useful. Flying also kept basically all the same defenses that we needed as grass, mainly that ground thing, but it became an immunity.
It's even better now. It's even better now.
So it was really nice. It's like the Ursaluna matchup because we were able to maintain that. And since we had such high physical defense already on Incineroar, Surging Strikes wasn't that big of a deal anyways. So it ended up working out in that way.
Yeah. And the Rocky Helmet too. It's like you already had a lot of for that.
So Terra Flying was really good. It just improved matchups into certain HO teams, especially ones with Landorus. Both Landoruses, like including the Therian one running around with like band. It gave a much more
consistent. One team was everywhere before the tournament. The Lando, Torn, Urshifu, that one team. It was everywhere.
Yeah. Man. That one made by Taryn Birdie and I believe it was Oliver Esklin.
Yeah.
That one was picking up a bit in popularity, so we wanted to make sure we had some lines for that. Very standard Incineroar set, fake out, Flare Blitz, knockoff parting shot. And it was mainly just there to be a supportive piece to help round out the team in tandem with the next guy, Amoonguss.
Warhol.
Yes. I used him last time in Portland. So I wanted to bring him back for this team when I named him and stuff. But Amoonguss rounds out the defensive core of this team and adds to the balanced nature of the team in tandem with the offense. So we decided that Citrus Berry was probably the best item on Amoonguss. It makes the balance matchup more consistent in comparison to Rocky Helmet. With Amoonguss, we like I said before, it protects our offensive pieces and helps patch up matchups with Spore. It has a relaxed nature, so we can have a slower speed stat in the Trick Room. But I think if I were to make a change, I would try and hunt for an optimized Amoonguss with like 48 speed as like the actual stat, because then it does better in Tailwind, for example, in comparison to this one where I just went relaxed nature, no IV investment.
Which is what number?
Yeah, it was 48. It's like I don't know the IVs, but it's 48. Like
you want to hit 48, or right now it's at 48.
It's not at 48. I want to hit 48. It gives you a better Tailwind stat, and you underspeed everything that you want to underspeed already, which is like your Urshifu. I mean, not Urshifu, sorry, Ursaluna's in Trick Room and stuff. So that way you can like put opposing P2 to sleep or something along those lines. So there's that. We went with a very simple Terra Water. Terra Water is just very consistent to Urshifu Chempao, which was the main reason why I was there. Then in regards to the spread, we made it 244 HP. 244 HP is an even number, which is really good for Citrus because right after it goes under, the even divisible number, half, it will immediately like proc the Citrus and it goes up. So it's better for berry recovery that way. The special defense was like generic special defense. We didn't really have anything specifically calced for, but in terms of the defense, we did have something very specific for, and that was Ivy Cudgel from the Max Jolly Heart Flames. It's only like I believe a 12.5% chance to OHKO with Ivy Cudgel, which is really, really useful because you should live, I think, almost any double up on the common Raging Bolt balance team. With the Citrus Berry recovery, it should recover you out of range of like horsepower on Rillaboom, knockoff from Incineroar, not Flare Blitz, obviously.
Yeah, as long as no Dracos or Flare Blitzes,
Usually, depends on the Raging Bolt, but I think maybe Dragon Pulse, depending on like what rolls you get with the Pulse, the Cudgel, and all that. Then for the moveset, it's very standard: Protect, Sludge Bomb, Rage Powder, Spore. Sludge Bomb is just so broken in this format for hitting the Ogre Pawns. You also get the Poison Chance. It's just very, very obnoxious in the right spots.
Yeah, absolutely. On your Amoonguss, other than its speed, would you change anything else? The Terra, maybe adding more defensive bulk. Like, would you change anything there or not really?
Not really. I think it's almost perfect outside of speed. Not like most of this. Like the thing is, a lot of the spreads on this team have been thought out like very, very much like in detail by like Patrick and the rest of the group. Mainly just because they all of them do very specific things. This is also, like I said before, iteration number 45. This had like
yeah,
so this had like
45 boys.
Yeah. So it had over like 2 months of like work and like thought put behind a lot of the EVs. So it's like, in my opinion, very hard to change a lot of the things without dynamically changing how the team works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess now looking back, before we go into your run, I mean, you gave a really great explanation. So thank you, Cary. I appreciate that. You really break it down. I know you mentioned all individual teams. What do you think people should look out for? I guess, like, what are the things that maybe people should look at as, maybe these were some tough matchups or tough things that the team struggles with, that people can say, okay, well, maybe I want to make some changes to be better into those things. Like, how would you look at this and be like, okay, well, it's really good into a lot. I mean, clearly it's good enough to win a regional tournament. But what is it maybe, what should we be looking out for as like maybe some, I should look out for that and things, things of that nature?
I think the two hardest matchups are, like I said before, certain Landorus builds with Tornadus, specifically double Incarnate. Like the local before Toronto, I made it to finals of the local, but I lost 3 times to Tornadus Landorus with like HO pieces that were very hard to deal with. There was this one that had Incineroar too that was very, very hard to deal with because it just mitigated the damage of my Roy Moon and stuff. The games were like pretty close. Like I was able to like kind of fight my way back into it, but there was like a lot of 50-50s, damage rolls that like weren't in my favor. So I was just like, nah, it's just like a very hard matchup depending on like what pieces they have in tandem with the Landers and Tornadoes. Because there's some that are like way more manageable in comparison to others. It's just very dependent on the build. So there's that. Then the other matchup that me and the rest of the group agreed was annoying was Sun. Specifically, like at most Sun is fine. It's specifically Lilycole with the after you Lilligant, because at the time there was some Lilligants that weren't running after you. They were running Terrastellar upper hand. Which the Rocky Helmet and Sonora counters, because you can actually fake out the Lilligant, and if they upper hand you, then they take the Rocky Helmet chip and then die to like make it rain or sludge bomb or whatever it may be. So those are the two hardest. In my opinion, the awkward matchups are some variants of Cresselia Ursaluna and P2 Ursa, but they're still like quite beatable. But I would say those are like the 4 majorly awkward matchups. So there's that.
Guys, if you're watching this video and you want to use Cary's team, be aware of those matchups and maybe add some text. Would you change anything about the team that would help with those matchups?
It's kind of hard too, because I think most of those are still playable. You just have to play like really, really good balance, because Amoonguss enables you to be able to outplay a bit. It's just it's very hard to change much outside of like making the Gholdengo Nasty Plot or something, which Nasty Plot's really good into like P2 Ursa stuff, but I think it makes the team worse into a lot of other things because you lose the fairy coverage, the instant damage. You have to run Metal Coat on Gholdengo, which I think is terrible.
Damage boost. So
like if I were to run like a damage boosting item that isn't specs on Gholdengo, it would probably be Life Orb, but that's obviously on Landorus. So it's it just makes the team worse, sadly. But overall, like those matchups that I listed, I think are still like manageable, and there's like lines.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Well, that's great. So thank you for breaking it down. I appreciate it, man. So now, guys, we're going into the run, the championship run, as it were. So let's do that, man. Let's do that. So I'm gonna pull up your run right here. I'm gonna link, guys. Again, comment the word badge challenge if you want the guide, but also comment in the description. I'll put his pace in there as well. So comment the word Cary in the comments if you want the paste. But again, guys, so here's a run. Here's what we're looking at. So round number 1. I mean, again, no one you played went under. Only one person went under 4-4. But you had a pretty tough run, man. You did great. So starting off with Jesse Gell, let's talk about his team. So talk about you don't do it super in depth in the rounds that you don't really want to, but really just get an idea of like, okay, what'd you do, and what should someone else do to beat them? But some rounds, if you want to go more in depth, feel free.
So when I saw this team at round 1, I was pretty familiar with the matchup because we actually have someone in our locals who ran something pretty similar,
Nice.
which was the different Ursaluna. It was Ursaluna Blood Moon, but it had the same core of Incineroar, Farigiraf, Ogerpon Wellspring, and the Bear, and a Tailwind user. So I was like, and like a strong Paradoxmon being the Raging Bolt.
Yeah.
So this matchup wasn't too hard. I identified that Gholdengo was like the most important piece because Gholdengo with Gleam basically touches everything on this team, especially in tandem with Make It Rain.
Yeah.
And then Roaring Moon also looked insane into this team, mainly because of Breaking Swipe being strong into the Ursaluna, the Ogerpon Wellspring, the Incineroar, and Raging Bolt.
And with Make It Rain, the combo is so good with Make It Rain because if they Terra Fairy, you're getting cooked.
Right. And then it also works in tandem with the Gholdengo to pin down the Farigiraf because you can threaten Make It Rain. So I was able to utilize that as a threatening piece, and then to be able to pressure down the Farigiraf in order to Terra. I think an easy trap that a lot of people fall into with the team that I'm using is that, and it's something that I fell into when I first started, is bringing Incin, Gus, Roaring Moon. Incin, Gus, Roaring Moon should never come all three together because then the issue is you become too passive. You don't have enough damage, which is a lesson I learned by playing the Guider locals because I kept bringing that into them, and games kept being a lot harder than they should be because I had too much support. I didn't have damage. So what I ended up and then I was able to face him on the run back and be able to beat him at a different local and stuff. But to tie it back into this, I ended up bringing Amoonguss and Urshifu because with Amoonguss, that's all I really needed for the Trick Room because Amoonguss hits Wellspring for good damage. It should be able to Sludge Bomb the Incineroar, can put the Tornadoes to sleep, the Raging Bolt to sleep, the Farigiraf to sleep. It's like just really, really good. And I don't really need to bring Incineroar if I play good Amoonguss and good with Michael Gholdengo. So then the last one I brought was Urshifu, because Urshifu just seemed really strong into the team if I got into position, specifically against the Incineroar, the Ursaluna, and the Farigiraf, and then it also can do well into the Tornadoes if you have a speed boost. Same thing with the Ogerpon if you can get an attack drop on it with Breaking Swipe, for example. So it was just overall like really solid game plan with those four. I led Gholdengo, Roaring Moon, Amoonguss, Urshifu in the back every time. I was able to like efficiently be able to win. But it was a fun set, nice back and forth, especially game one was decently close with the Ursaluna, but I got like a couple of good calls at the end game to be able to like seal it up and guarantee it. So yeah.
Nice, that's great, bro. And again, thank you for breaking down the Pokemon as well, like that you're bringing, because I hope everyone watching right now they can like write this down while they're going. So, number 2, we got Michael Klymchuk.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. We're right there already. Raging Bolt.
So there's some funny context behind this. So if you guys do not know who Michael Klymchuk is, this is Seawolf Mike's, as he goes by.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. So that's his handle online and a lot of time. So the additional funny context behind this is that I'm currently playing for Team Florida in USPA, and we did scrims a couple weeks ago, and me and Mike got paired for scrims for Canada versus Florida, and we played this exact same matchup. So there was that additional fun context to it that made it a lot more nerve-wracking. Also because of the way that me and Michael like to play, if that makes sense, where we're very confident in our reads in a lot of ways, and so we're very confident at making those reads into other players, which is what makes it tricky because like there's like some it's like a level of like reading on read just because of how we play normally. But this matchup was tricky. Game one was so close. It came down to like Urshifu living surging strikes on like 1 HP after Roggy Helmet. But it was it was mainly close because I got very, very unlucky in game one. I double whiffed Sandsear with my Landorus into a Raging Bolt and a 1 HP Rillaboom, which I clicked Sandsear mainly so that way I could remove Rillaboom, chip Raging Bolt, and then put it in range of Sludge Bomb on the board. But since I double missed, it was like really, really bad. And then to pour salt in the wound, he got a turn 1 wake up on the Raging Bolt that next turn, it was able to Dragon Pulse my Gus, which that actually came up, by the way, because it procced my Amoonguss' Citrus Berry. And if I had Citrus Berry, I'd probably win the end game versus his back, which was which was Ogerpon and Urshifu. But in hindsight, maybe I was supposed to click Sludge Bomb or Earth Power into the Raging Ball to guarantee damage because I was calling his Rillaboom to go for Grassy Glide.
Yeah.
So because in case I went for Sludge Bomb into that slot, but I could also make the justification for Sandsear, but it was still close, and I tried to play to my outs despite losing. But to clarify on what mons you should bring, I just want to explain the game one and stuff. But the mons that I brought the same 4 every time. It was Amoonguss, Landorus, Urshifu, Incineroar. Game 1, I led Urshifu on lead. But then the other 2 games, I led Landorus because I wanted to pressure some stuff down. An important thing in this matchup is identifying when to lead Urshifu or when to lead Landorus.
Okay.
You should always lead Landorus when you are thinking that they're going to lead Bolt, because Landorus puts immediate pressure on Bolt next to Gus. Gus should also usually always come on lead or Incineroar. Not only to pressure down Intimidate or Fake Out, but also Spore.
More pressure.
Yeah. And then Urshifu is really strong into any Hearth Flame modes because you can just Surging Strikes your way through it. And then you also have a good chance of OHKOing a lot of these Ogerpons with Surging Strikes with the Mystic Water. But then game 2, I led Landorus Amoonguss. He led Urshifu Fluttermane. I did get lucky with a Sandsear crit on the Urshifu turn 1 to just remove it. I'm not sure what move he went for. I'm pretty sure it was Surging Strikes and not Close Combat. But I also doubled it with Sludge Bomb and Sandsear. So it was I think it would have probably killed if Sandsear connects into Sludge Bomb anyways. But after he lost Urshifu, he had Incineroar Rillaboom in the back, which couldn't break my Incineroar and Amoonguss. So he didn't have enough offense. So then we went to game 3, and game 3 was really close. There was a lot of
walk me through it.
Oh, so he led Ogerpon Fluttermane. I led Landorus Amoonguss again, and there was just a lot of back and forth. I don't remember how exactly it went down, but there was a lot of back and forth, and I did get 2 Sludge Bomb poisons that were pretty nice.
Okay,
but because it allowed me to play the game a lot slower and be able to like kind of stall a bit, which was into the Rillaboom and into the Fluttermane. I had outs if I didn't get those poisons still, but it allowed me to play the game a bit different and get to a different kind of end game. But we end up getting to this end game where it's a 50-50. So I have full HP Amoonguss on the board, full HP Urshifu, and he has Rillaboom and Ogerpon on the board. And now it is a perfect 50-50 board state, which is either he clicks, and he has Terra online still. He can Terra Fire his Ogerpon. This is both of our last 2 Pokemon. His Rillaboom is low HP poisoned. I have Gus, Ursh, like I was saying before. Yep. So now it comes down to a 50-50. Is he going to Cudgel into my Amoonguss to remove it?
Yep.
Is he going to Woodhammer? Not Woodhammer, or is he going to double glide my Urshifu?
Yeah.
His Rillaboom had already taken a couple Intimidates, so I knew it wasn't dying to Woodhammer, but it dies from glide into glide.
Yeah.
So I made the call that Mike was going to call me to protect Urshifu, calling double glide, and he was going to swing into my Amoonguss. So I protect Amoonguss. I see glide come out from Rillaboom, meaning he didn't click it with Ogerpon, and then I see Ivy Cudgel goes into the Amoonguss. I Surging Strike the Ogerpon, remove it.
Yeah.
And now it's just low HP poisoned Rillaboom versus full HP Amoonguss and Urshifu. So I was able to win off that.
That's huge.
I could have still if he doubles so my Amoonguss can live a Cudgel, but I'm trying to avoid crits as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that was like the main thing. So that was like what made it nerve-wracking. But it was a fun set, nice back and forth, and it was cool to face him on the rematch.
Yeah, I mean, again, like sometimes the margins are so small, right? And like you guys having played each other too adds a whole level of complexity to it as well, which I always think is like always like tricky. You know, naturally it's like, okay, well, who's gonna do what on this? You know, where we are right now at this point of the game. So yeah, man. And again, he also had a great run. So shout out to you, Seawolves Mike, for the decent run as well. So I guess if someone else is playing this, you said they should lead Gus or Incin. break that down again real quick, just so someone has an idea?
So you should usually always bring the same 4 of Gus, Lando, Ensign, and in any order really. You just need to lead with an offensive attacker like the Urshifu or the Landorus, and then a support piece.
Okay.
It's really important that you kind of get that call right on the turn 1 on what you kind of bring, because it allows you to leverage more board pressure.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for breaking that down. Continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, one thing that can be justified in bringing is Gholdengo, but it's not really as good as the other pieces into balance. Because like Landorus is threatening Okos on the Incineroar, the Raging Bolt has Sludge Bomb for Ogerpon and Rillaboom, Earth Power for the whole team basically, Sandsear, right? And then Urshifu has Surging Strikes for Incineroar, Flutter Mane, Ogerpon, anything that terastallizes. It's just really, really strong. So it's like hard to justify Gholdengo sometimes.
Yeah.
But it can come depending on the variant of Bolt Balance.
Yeah, the other one that they have. Yeah, that makes sense. Like if it's maybe like some Chin Pow version, maybe it has more value there, which makes sense. Okay, sick, dude, sick. So now we're keeping the run going. We got Joseph Nettles. So how'd this matchup go? I see a Ting Lu gouging team with a little Torn Ursh mode. Tell me about this one, bro.
So when I saw this team looking in, so this was this guy's first regional. From when I was talking with him, really cool for him for starting off with a 2-0 start.
Yeah.
For a first regional that's like this stacked is like pretty cool. But so I was looking in, I identified that Gholdengo seemed like an insanely strong piece into this team. Because if so what I tried to do a lot with this team was identify what sweeper just cleans through most of the team. Because it allows me to position my balance pieces around it in order to be able to support it effectively for a sweep.
Yeah.
So looking in, I realized Gholdengo seemed ridiculously strong. We have Grassy Seed Rillaboom that doesn't have Assault Vest. Gholdengo can Oko Fluttermane with a Make It Rain.
Yep.
Does an absurd amount of damage to Tornadus, forces Terra. I have Terra Fairy Gleam for Gouger, Ting Lu, Urshifu, and Gleam still does really strong neutral damage into Torn, Flutter, and Rillaboom.
Yeah.
So I was like, Gholdengo's the most important piece.
Gholdengo actually cooks here, bro.
Yeah. So both games, I just leaned into Gholdengo and was able to just get super duper far ahead.
Yeah.
Game 1, I wanted to take a more slow approach. So I went with like Gholdengo, Amoonguss, and then had Urshifu, Roaring Moon in the back. Okay. And then game 2, I figured he would try and lean a bit more into the gouging fire mode, possibly because he didn't bring it game 1. He leaned more into his Tailwind mode with Urshifu and Fluttermane. So then game 2, I decided, okay, I don't think he's going to bring it on lead, so I'm going to lead my own Tailwind. So I lead Roaring Moon plus Gholdengo. He leads Gouging Fire plus Urshifu. And I was just able to very easily click Tailwind plus Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam through most of his team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And I guess you broke down what you led both games as well. So guys, if you want to change anything, or would you feel like you changed the game plan at all? Or do you think that was pretty consistent, your plan there?
It was pretty consistent. I just knew I needed to support Gholdengo with the proper pieces and get the proper turns right, which was like calling that, for example, like game 1, I was like, okay, I think his Urshifu is going to go for U-turn and not Surging Strikes. So I'm going to click Sludge. I think he's going to go for Taunt U-turn. So I'm going to click Sludge Bomb, Make It Rain. He went for U-turn Taunt, and I was able to get Sludge Bomb plus Make It Rain, and I was able to get super far ahead. So it's it's a matter of just pacing yourself and identifying the key turns. But Gholdengo was the main piece here.
Key piece. No, that makes sense, bro. Makes sense. Which is, again, you're cooking at this point, or you keep cooking. So let me switch this back. So now we got in the next round 4. Boom. Okay, and so now you're doing a little bit of everything right now. You're literally getting a little bit of everything. So tell me about right here.
So I got Psy Spam. So this was a little scary because it was Booster Speed Flutter, which was faster than my Roaring Moon.
Okay. It was faster than yours.
It was faster, yeah. Usually a way you can identify when the Flutters are usually faster than Moon, just from the team sheet, is usually if the Fluttermane has Thunder Wave, they're normally slower than your Roaring Moon. But that's 80% of the time. The other 20% it might not be. For example, Paul Chua in finals was running Thunder Wave on Flutter, but he was running a timid Flutter from what I heard from people. When I was asking around, what was he running? Yeah. So it's it varies, but usually the way you can tell is if they're this set with Protect, Blue Blast, Icy Wind Taunt, or Dazzling Gleam over Taunt, they're probably faster than your Roaring Moon. But if they had T-Wave or like Pain Split or something, they're probably slower than your Roaring Moon.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
game 1 was a little awkward, if I remember correctly, mainly because he got a Taunt off into my Roaring Moon, but I was able to get the right pressure points in order to force the Flutter Mane out, so that way I could get a Tailwind up with my Roaring Moon to be able to close out the end game with my Landorus. And then game 2, because he led a really passive lead that I wasn't expecting game 1, but it was really good into my lead. He led Ogerpon plus Flutter Mane into my Gholdengo Roaring Moon lead, which normally is really, really good into Side Spam. I was not expecting Heartflame on lead, mainly because my team has a lot of really, really good answers into Heartflame, especially with the Terrifier Urshifu, but he was probably calling out the fact that I was going to lead more anti-Side Spam.
Yep.
So when I saw that he was leading that, it was just a matter of like trying to position Incineroar and Roaring Moon so that way I could get Tailwind up safely. Something interesting about this game 1 that came up was that the Incense bulk actually ended up mattering a lot because my Incin had a bit of chip, but he was on 156 Adamant Urshifu, and I actually didn't die to the Surging Strikes.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I was like, wow, that's like,
you mentioned that earlier as well, that you were like you needed to live that one calc there.
Yeah. So that's like an additional benefit outside of like the normal max Adamant one. So I was like, sweet, now I can preserve Incineroar to be able to clean up the end game. But the thing that I identified from playing into him in this game 1 is that his team was really, really slow. He was actually running really slow Ogerpon, really slow Iron Crown, and because both of those were slower than my Urshifu.
So there was like a trick room mode almost, it felt like.
Exactly. So I realized that I could lean into a slower lead that still gave me tools into Side Spam if he led Iron Crown, but I could use it to pressure down those other pieces. So I led Urshifu plus Incin, and then I had Gholdengo. No, I think I had Landorus Roaring Moon in the back. I know I had Roaring Moon in the back, but I was just trying to get into a board state where I could safely get in Moon, set up the Tailwind, and then be able to win. I mean, not even the Tailwind, because I already outsped everything, but just be able to get consistent damage off on the board and remove the Flutter Mane, which was like the main thing with the Surging Strikes, which was like really nice.
No, that's great. I think, again, like stuff like this is always interesting, right? Because I feel like you have a good matchup, relatively speaking, because you have the double darks, you have some good control pieces, but it is still a little bit awkward in some ways.
It's really only awkward because of the Flutter Mane. I'm going to be entirely honest.
Yeah.
The fact that there's no Tornadus that I have to worry about with like opposing Tailwind, for example, makes it a lot more playable. I think Elite that I was kind of nervous about with this was Regidrago Flutter Mane, which is why I led Gholdengo originally.
Yeah.
But I figured since he seemed kind of scared to bring Drago, I'm assuming because of my Roaring Moon and my Gholdengo, I was able to lead into the fact of that and be able to bring it different for in game 2.
So I guess now that you know that, like going forward, like again, if people can identify that, like what would you do? Like, well, it's a very clear, like, I'll bring these 4. I don't keep asking you this, but like I think it just makes people at home really understand like how to play the team. Like, what would you do in that case?
So let's say this is normal Side Spam where it's a Tornadus over that Flutter Mane, right? Because I think Flutter Mane changes a lot of the dynamics of the matchup.
Yeah.
If it's a Tornadus, normally I just lead Roaring Moon plus Gholdengo and then have like Landorus and Incineroar in the back, sometimes Urshifu.
Yeah.
But the main reason being is that Gholdengo, Roaring Moon, it has really good pins into most of this team. The other important thing is so max speed Roaring Moon with booster speed energy outpaces Regidrago and Tailwind if they're modest, which most of the time they are modest on this type of archetype.
Yeah, they're like never maxed. They're like never maxed him. Like, I rarely have ever seen that in my practice.
Right. So you can use that to your advantage, being able to like possibly stagger a Tailwind or knock off the Regidrago or breaking swipe the Regidrago or something like that. It enables you to play a bit differently. And also Roaring Moon is really, really strong into like the rest of this team outside of Urshifu being like Heartflame, Indeedee, Iron Crown is just really consistent into.
And then dunks on all of them. It dunks on them, bro.
Right. And then you have pins for Urshifu, which is the main reason because one of their favorite leads into our team is Urshifu plus Tornadus. And a lot of the time they really, really don't they don't want to sorry.
Thank you again for doing this, guys. Cary's doing this through the cough, guys. Leave a like and comment. Congrats for the boy.
But yeah, so then the other thing was if they lead Urshifu Tornadus, they had to make a decision, which was to either Surging Strikes the Gholdengo or Close Combat the Moon. Oftentimes they didn't Close Combat the Moon because if you lock it to Close Combat, you can't touch Gholdengo, which then forces a swap.
Yeah.
So then it's also just kind of awkward to Close Combat because you drop your stats. I also could Terra Poison if I really wanted to. And I have Incineroar and like all this other stuff and like defensive switching, so it's better usually for them to lock Surging Strikes. But like even then, there's like still a lot of ways you could like play into it. This meant, especially with Terra Steel Lando. Terra Steel Lando also gives you a lot of really nice lines into this, especially if you get rid of the Hard Flame, which you might even be faster than a lot of these Hard Flames because a lot of them like to run slow and bulky on this team. But once again, that's not consistent to every version because some people like to run faster or slower pieces.
I saw someone playing. I don't know if it was Birmingham or Toronto, but like their Hard Flame was like extremely slow on stream. It was like max bulk or something, like, or not max bulk, like it was like an HP attack. It was some kind of like something like this, where in Trick Room it was just like boom, boom, boom. It was very interesting.
That might have either been
I forget who it was.
That might have been either Ethan or that was sorry if I pronounced this wrong. I believe Hangyu Zhang.
Yeah, it might have been because it was like weird. It was like the Ogerpon moved after something. I was like, what the hell? I forgot. One of them. It was one of them too. You're right. You're definitely right with that. So yeah, that's great. That's helpful. So now we're leveling up. Now we're 4-0. So now we're playing against a team right here. Very similar, but this is the Justin Tang. The Justin Tang.
Yes.
Team.
This is Ale Piscitelli. I actually played him in Indianapolis where I got my first day too.
Yeah.
Where I was able to beat them there, and they were on like Tropico, so I was on CSR stuff.
Yep.
So this was kind of cool to have this rematch. So I was pretty familiar with this team. I figured he was building with Tang because I know he's kind of close with the Ugarte, Tang, James Evans kind of group. So I was pretty confident on like how most of these spreads were, especially since I saw Justin Tang play this team in World Cup. But like a slightly different variant. I also played Justin Tang in scrims for USPA as well. So that there was like additional context for that. So the most important thing in this matchup that I knew was that Reggie Drago was timid. So it's timid Reggie Drago.
Is that they have timid Drago?
So it outspeeds Rory Moon and Talon, which is like really important.
Yeah.
So game one, he leads Reggie Drago Tornadus. I lead Gholdengo Rory Moon.
Yep.
I clicked Terra Poison on Rory Moon Talon because I remember Draco Meteor was a roll from timid Drago, but I didn't remember the roll.
Okay.
So I went for like Talon Make It Rain. He clicks Draco Meteor. Oko's my Raging Bolt. I mean my Rory Moon through Terra. I'm like,
oh shit.
And I'm like, and so now I'm like really worried, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And so I don't remember exactly what happens, but there's a lot of back and forth, but it comes down to if he misses a Bleak Wind Storm, but he double connects. So I'm like, all right, that's fine. This is really winnable as long as I get the turns right, and I just need to like position better.
Yeah.
Then game two, I get a big read off because so he leads Reggie Drago Torn again. I lead Gholdengo Roaring Moon again. And I'm like, I think he's going to call me to protect on Roaring Moon. So I'm just going to click Tailwind. Yeah. So I click Terra Poison Tailwind and Make It Rain. He double protects. And I'm like, so now I'm like super duper far ahead. And I'm able to just start dropping damage on the board. And it was very tricky for him to come back versus my Urshifu plus Incineroar in the back. So I was able to get to a position where I forget how it all went down, but I was able to get the Tornadus into Aqua Jet range so I could fake out Aqua Jet and then just be able to win the game.
Yeah.
Then we go to game three. In game three, I figured, okay, this time he's just going to Tailwind, rip it into my Roaring Moon. I'm going to protect. So I protect Roaring Moon, Make It Rain. He clicks Tailwind, rips it into Roaring Moon.
Nice.
So I get super far ahead because now both of his mons are super chipped down.
Yep.
Then we kind of dance around and we get to a board state where I have Urshifu. He has Hard Flame plus his Urshifu on the board, and his Urshifu is -2. And I have Gholdengo. His Ogerpon's at -1.
Yeah.
I mean, not at -1, it's at neutral. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, what's Ollie's best play? And I'm like, I think it's to double my Urshifu with Glide plus Surging Strikes. He's not going to lock into close combat because he's going to be at -2 after I swap in the Incineroar.
Yeah.
So I think he is going to Terrafire his Ogerpon, Glide plus Surging Strikes into my Urshifu. And so I was like, I think he's going to do that, but I'm pretty sure I live that double up.
Yeah.
Because he's not bringing Rillaboom, so he has no grassy terrain, which boosts the damage of it. So I'm pretty sure I live Surging Strikes into neutral Glide. Especially after I saw the damage game 1 when he clicked Glide, and it only did like around 50% when I was at like -1 defense or something. Like,
yeah,
I mean, not -1 defense, but like it was something to where I was like, I'm pretty confident I live this. So this was like the turn that decides the whole game because he has like 1 HP Torn in the back, and then his Urshifu's at full HP, but I had like full HP Dango and Incineroar with Terra online.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make this call. I'm gonna hard swap Incin, Surging Strikes the Ogerpon. I see Terra come out on his side. Surging Strikes comes out from his Urshifu, and Terrafire Glide comes out into mine. I live on 12 HP, meaning that it was like a consistent thing, and I don't think it was a roll because of like just the amount of HP points that I had.
You felt like there was a cushion in there.
Like there was like a cushion, yeah. So I as soon as that came out, I knew I won the game because then his Ogerpon goes down, 1 HP Torn comes out. I could fake out his Urshifu and jet the Torn, and then Terraflying, Parting Shot, get back in Gholdengo, fake out Gleam, and then win the game.
Boom, boom, boom.
One change I am considering that I would consider for this team, actually, is a better way to phrase it, is possibly putting Terra Fairy on the Roymoon. I think Terra Poison is just really, really good, but I could see a justification for Terra Fairy in this matchup to make it better because it makes Drago less scary, but it also makes Gholdengo a bit scarier, but you have a lot more tools for Gholdengo. So that's like my thought behind it, is that if you just play good into the Gholdengo, it's not really that big of a deal. So there's that. I don't think this matchup's terrible, especially since Timid Draco Meteor is only like a 50% roll on Roymoon. And then like Incin plus Urshifu is good into the rest of this team if you could just get rid of the Drago.
It just sounds like a very like scary turn 1. Like that's really what it is. It's like
that's the main thing. And then it's like being very careful in the middle turns, which is like good defensive swaps, making sure that you're responsible with Terra and stuff. So it's like that's like the main points where you got to be like careful.
I have a question.
Otherwise, I think it's pretty manageable.
Yeah. Do you feel like just for players watching at home, like if you have your Roaring Moon, like how often are you preserving it, like swapping it out during the game, or is it like typically when I watch people play, it's there until it goes away?
I think there's a lot of times where you should swap. Like I think there was a couple times on stream when I probably should have swapped, but specifically versus maybe like Brendan, because I would get a better offensive position. But I think most of the time you probably stay in with it, because that was actually something I was debating after in game 3, because I was trying to think, because I'm like Roymoon is really, really good into the rest of his back because it's like Hard Flame, low HP Torn, but I'm like, do I really want to sacrifice my Incineroar or my Urshifu? And I was like, not really. So I'm gonna just sack Moon, and then it's like he also could miss Draco Meteor, for example, right? So I was like, that makes sense. Oh, and I forgot to mention, by me not utilizing Terra on that turn, I was able to bait the Surging Strikes from Ale, because what I was able to do is, because I'm Terra Fire Urshifu, right?
Yeah. So
like you can make the argument like, oh, why didn't he CC plus Glide? Doesn't that do more damage even at -2? Well, Surging Strikes covers for the Terra Fire. So I figured it would be the resisted Surging Strikes plus the Glide. So that's like the main reason why I went for the play that I did. But it's like, but to get back to the point, I think this matchup's like pretty playable. I'm not sure how I would have felt facing Tang in finals if he beat Chua in top 4.
Yeah.
It would have been probably pretty close, like with a good chunk of back and forth, especially since I think he would play it a bit different than Ale. But I think this matchup's manageable. It's just a matter of getting
Yeah.
So
hey, you dodged him, all right?
I did, yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you for that breakdown, bro. Appreciate that on that one. So now we're gonna keep going. So this player went 9-3. So this player did very well, Cayden Owens. With the classic
my
thing,
goat.
Seeing a lot. Yeah, we've been seeing this team a lot recently.
That's my goat, Cayden Owens. One of my good friends. He's from down here in And I helped him a bit with like some spreads on this team.
Yeah.
So it's funny because this matchup is very favorable for us, and we were joking about it on.
You got the moon. This is the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were joking about it the day before about like matchups and stuff, and so, and he knew it was very very favorable for me, and it's very hard for him. But he could still win if he gets some like key turns right.
Yeah.
But so this one was a little antsy because we both know how each other play because we prep with each other a lot.
Yeah. There you go.
So there's that. And we also helped each other on each other's teams and stuff and like prep. So there was that. So I already knew what kind of counter lead he was planning, which was Flutter Mane plus Raging Molt, because it's good into most modes on the team and it covers the Gholdengo lead really well.
Yeah.
So game one, I kind of tested out a counter lead that kind of worked, which was Gholdengo Amoonguss. And it was like really weird, but we get to a board state where my Amoonguss lives on 1 HP from Draco Meteor at 50%, recovers HP, right, with the Citrus Berry.
Yeah.
He gets Dark Urshifu plus Water Pond on the board. And then I'm like, okay, the only way I win this game is he either misses the close combat roll on Moon after a Breaking Swipe, or -1 Ivy Cudgel does not kill Amoonguss. So I go for Breaking Swipe Rage Powder. Yeah. He goes for Ivy Cudgel into Amoonguss to kill it so he could get the CC off into Moon.
Yeah.
He Ivy Cudgels the Amoonguss. It lives on 1 again, so it redirects the CC.
Dude, this Amoonguss is plot armor, bro. I'm convinced.
So then it's able to get the Tailwind up. So I'm able to get the Tailwind up next turn, and I get the 50-50 right with Landorus on which slot's going to protect.
Yeah.
Because I figured, because his Urshifu had its Sash broken for the Breaking Swipe. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I should be able to just kill the Ogre Pond here, because I don't think he's going to swing with Urshifu, because he needs Urshifu to beat Roaring Moon. So it's more important for him to preserve Urshifu in comparison to Ogre Pond. So I just Sludge Bomb the Ogre Pond. And I'm able to remove it, and that should end the game right there. Then game 2, I went my standard approach because I'm like, that was a little too close for comfort because I wasn't sure on the rolls on Gus there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just going to go to my normal game plan and just play better. And so I went to my normal game plan. I led Roaring Moon Gholdengo, had Landorus Urshifu in the back, and I was able to pretty cleanly get through most of his offenses. And I was able to finish it out with Landorus, and Roaring Moon was able to sit on the board for most of the time, just being able to click buttons and stand damage next to Moon. So that was like the main things.
So I guess going into this matchup, kind of going forward, like, because these teams kind of don't go away. I don't think it's. I mean, it's not on the uptick. I'll say that. Like,
I think it's pretty mid. I'm going to be honest. I just think my friend, I think Cayden is like a really, really good pilot of this team. I think he's just a really good player in general. So like, I'm not surprised that he went 9-3, or even better if he was able to. So it's like, I've just always, I don't know, I just always hated the Hark Flutter stuff because I just thought it was too slow and just like very gambly. But like, I see where it's like a balance, like where it has like a way of playing balance and stuff as well. So it's like, I think this matchup is kind of free low as long as you just play it right, which is you lean into Gholdengo. And like just get the right pressure points down and get the right and like Terra the correct Pokemon on your side.
Yeah.
Like one play you could do if they lead Raging Bolt and like you're confident that they're not going to Terra it is you can knock the Raging Bolt, Terra Fairy Gleam, and then just kill it turn 1. So it's like there's a lot of ways you can play it, and it's very favorable for you.
Yeah. That makes sense. I feel like, again, your also team was like added in value, like to the whole point of the one, like the team was to beat stuff like this. So
yeah, that was the additional benefit. The Moon being faster than the Flutter Mane. So that was like one thing.
Yeah, just use control the pace of the game essentially.
Yeah.
So now even another balance mode, but this is like that old Joe Ugarte King Gambit stuff from like last year.
I was really happy to see this. I thought it was like not in terms of like the matchup, but I was really happy to see this team again because I was like a big fan of it when Factura was running it.
Yeah.
So this is Josh Robinson. I've worked with him before on a team for Las Vegas when we were talking King Gambit stuff when we were working on the Zach Weed team with Zach.
Yeah.
I just like last minute dropped the team before the tourney because I didn't like its matchup into Sun, but Zach took it far, obviously, and then Josh also took it to a top 32 result as well. So I don't know if you remember the Zach Weed team with the.
It was he did well. He got like very deep, didn't he? In was
Zach? Yeah, he got finals. Remember,
Yeah,
he lost to the he lost to the Freeze.
Oh, we're saying that one. Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, that team. Yeah.
I looked about in Reg F last season. He got deep again. I think he lost.
No. I'm talking about Reg H. Recently. Recently, I worked with Josh and Weed and my friend Jonathan on the Weed team that he ran. Sorry, just clearing.
You're good, bro. No, you're good.
But yeah, so this matchup, it was kind of interesting. I knew Urshifu was good into like 3 out of the 6 Pokemon on this team, which was like the King Gambit, the Chempao, and the Ogerpon.
Okay.
It was just a matter of positioning it. And then the other pieces could be dealt with Landorus. Game 1 was really awkward. I don't remember how it went, but it came down to like a 50-50 with King Gambit and Gholdengo, which was like if it was a 50-50 on whether or not the King Gambit clicked Sucker Punch or just clicked Kowtow. But I called Josh to click Sucker Punch because I figured he was going to try to read me reading him. So I just clicked Trick, and I was able to just trick off the specs. Trick the specs onto the Gambit as it locked into Sucker Punch, and was able to just kind of clean up the game from there. And then
there's that trick at least you got the trick off, right?
yeah, that was really good. But then we go to game 2. In game 2, I dropped Roymoon because I realized it was kind of meh. And I was like, I think I can lean into Amoonguss to just be able to pressure down like his team. And then I can use Terra Water. And then if I play smart with Terra Water next to Landorus, I can beat the Raging Bolt and stuff like pretty effectively.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I leaned into. So I used like my positioning with Amoonguss, Landorus, and Urshifu to be able to win this game. I think somewhat convincingly, and then I also brought Gholdengo because I was like, Gholdengo's just another good Spore Immune for Gus. And then if you notice, Chempao cannot touch this Gholdengo, really, because it's double ice Sacred Sword.
No dark.
So that that was pretty nice. But yeah, it wasn't like too bad a match. It was a really fun set with Josh. I was glad I was finally able to play Josh. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And again, like you did well, and now you're running it up. And again, like you've played 3 of these Bolt kind of bouncy Bolt teams so far, and you've done pretty well against them. I feel like again the team is very good into Raging Bolt, like the way you built it with like a lot of the tools you have from the Bolt, like the Gholdengo, those pins. So now you've made day 2. Like now you're comfortably in day 2, and now you're playing the original, like the beginning of the Dozo Oblivious Helmet Dozo trend. So tell me about this. This must have been like interesting for you.
So this one was kind of nerve-wracking, mainly just because I'm fine with Dozo. I had to play on the side stream, which I didn't really like.
Yeah, because you don't get to see your stuff.
Well, I find it distracting mainly because if you're on the side that can see the people like in the background.
Yeah.
I found it really distracting, mainly because there's like people walking, talking, jumping around and stuff. So I found it a little hard to focus, but I was also like really tired, and now I have to play Dozo. So I'm just like,
no one wants to play Dozo in your last round of day 1.
Yeah. So game 1, so this was on side stream. Game 1, I think I had a really, really strong opener. Because I led Moon Urshifu, he led Weezing Fluttermane. I was able to protect my Urshifu, Terra Poison my Roaring Moon, and get a huge knockoff into the Fluttermane to just get rid of specs and put it in Aqua Jet range. So then I could bait the Dondozo to switch in the next turn. So then so I get the knockoff off. He goes for Poison Gas. It doesn't affect my Poison Roaring Moon.
Yeah.
This is where I start messing up, and it's where I start going.
Poison is so nice, bro.
Yes,
it's so good in that sense.
So it was really nice there, but this is where I start messing up a bit and I start making half reads, which is something you can't do with this team, because you will get punished. You need to have like full confidence in like your plays, because because it's an offensive team in nature, so you can't just go for like half reads where it like doesn't where you're trying to cover for multiple things that just can't be covered in like.
You gotta get it right. You gotta get it right.
Yes, so. For example, in that board state, I probably should have either swapped into Amoonguss and clicked knockoff, or I should have clicked Surging Strikes into Weezing and clicked knockoff into the Fluttermane if I was confident that the Fluttermane was going to switch. Which in my mind I was. I didn't I commit. So I was right that Dodoja swapped in, so I was able to knock off the Rocky helmet, but now I'm behind because my Urshifu took a strange steam, and now his Weezing's at full HP and not punished at all. And so now my Urshifu is like really low HP. I know Dozo's coming in. I know Tatsu's coming in to try and finish everything off. We get into like a positioning war, and I should have realized that he probably never was going to tear grass with Dozo, but he won that mind game because I kept clicking a sludge bomb into him when I thought he would tear grass, and he didn't.
Also, so getting Spore or like, with you're saying, or with Gus?
With Gus, because I got Gus on the board and I was threatening Spore. So I just kept. There's like a lot of minor misplays on my end, which is like I could say it's to me being distracted and stuff, but I don't think I was playing the set like super well at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I do end up being able to win the set with a 3-turn sleep on the Weezing after Juan gets 2 50-50 reads right on the Tatsu and the Fluttermane swap, because he baited Aqua Jet with Fluttermane and then hard swapped Tatsu to take the Aqua Jet, and then he called my close combat and swapped back into Fluttermane. And I was like debating on clicking Surging Strikes or not. So there's that.
Yeah.
But I was able to get a 3-turn sleep on the Weezing that was able to swing the board momentum back in my favor, because then my full HP Amoonguss was able to beat the Weezing in the end game to guarantee it. So there was that. Then
take those.
Yeah, then we go to game 2. Game 2, I felt more confident about my game plan, but I think I was still being a little sloppy. Mainly because
what happened in that?
Mainly because there was one turn where I don't think I realized his Weezing was Terra Flying. I thought it was Terra Grass. It was Terra Flying, and I clicked Sandsear instead of Earth Power, where if I just Earth Power the Fluttermane, I'm in like an infinitely better position because now everything's in range of everything else. But by not going for Earth Power, I missed Sandsear on the Fluttermane, so that I just ended up taking more chip, and I got no damage on the board because it's Terra Flying Weezing.
Yeah.
But that one I was able to bring back with some good plays with Amoonguss, and was able to clean up the end game versus the Weezing and stuff by getting off a good by getting off spores. I think overall I could have played this set cleaner, and it's easy to blame it on being tired and distracted, but I'm gonna instead look at it as like a way to improve certain turns, because I was right about a lot of the calls in my head in the matchup. It was just not committing on those calls in general.
Yeah, and I will say like a big part of that. I mean, the big part of that too, bro, in my head is like the best way to learn is in a win, right? Like learning when winning, like that's the best way to do it, because that way it's like
I think it's better to learn well. It's better to lose if you want to learn, but like
not in a tournament though. Like not in a tournament.
Not in a tournament.
Yeah.
It's like I think I could have played this set a lot cleaner overall.
Yeah.
And it just tells me where I just need to work on some of my stuff, which is like more patience, pacing myself, probably making sure to get better breaks in between rounds and stuff, like making sure to take time to myself to refocus, stuff like that.
Reset.
Also, probably trying to focus more on the game than the stuff around me, which I think that's also something that contributed to it. So it's like stuff that I like. Whenever I win, I always like you should also reflect on your wins and see what you could have done better in order to improve, which is what I keep trying, which was what I'm trying to do more as a player.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's facts though. I just won your 8-0, bro. And you're cooking. So now you're going against Alex Imbufe, and he got another, again, more size spam stuff. So tell me about this matchup right here.
So funny thing, I actually played him on ladder. And I lost. But what made it harder on ladder was that he had Regidrago with Whimsicott, and it just was like a bunch of 50-50 reads, and it was like super annoying.
Yeah.
But so when I saw that there was no Regidrago, I was like, wait, this matchup becomes like 10 times easier.
10 times easier, yeah.
No, but no joke. Like it becomes like way easier because I don't have to worry about like crazy burst spread damage that just like kills everything.
Yeah.
And he can't just like bait certain leads and stuff. So it's like it became like a lot easier. So I realized Roaring Moon is insane into his team. Roaring Moon is really good into Crown, DD, Ogerpon, and Urshifu.
Top four, yeah.
especially if you can get the Urshifu locked into a dark move.
Yeah.
And then Flutter Mane. And then I also was looking at, I'm like, Gholdengo also goes crazy because Gholdengo beats Whimsicott, Flutter Mane, and Urshifu if it locks into a bad move. So, and it resists Iron Crown, and it can beat Indeedee because Indeedee doesn't have an attacking move.
And Whimsicott ain't doing shit either to it.
Right. And then I also was looking at, I'm like, you know what also goes crazy? Urshifu and Landorus. So I was like, this should be somewhat favorable.
This should be barbecue chicken. This should be
So game 1, I led Incineroar Gholdengo, and he led what I thought he was going to lead, which was Urshifu plus Whimsicott.
Okay.
So looking at this board, I was like, I know what he wants to do. And what made it kind of tricky is he has Terra Fire on Urshifu, but I figured he was going to try and like Terra Fire the Urshifu and get a little cheeky.
Yeah.
So what I did is I called him to swing into Urshifu, swing into Gholdengo with either Iron Head or Wicked Blow, right? So I hard swap Roaring Moon, and I click Parting Shot into the Urshifu.
Okay.
He hard swaps Whimsicott to Ogerpon Heartflame. He Terra Fires his Urshifu. He Wicked Blows the Gholdengo slot, which is now a Roaring Moon. I get the Parting Shot out, and I get to bring in my Landorus. So now I have an instant pin on everything on his board. I do wish there was one turn where I wish I committed to the read that I was going to go for, which is I figured he was going to protect Ogerpon, hard swap Urshifu to Whimsicott, and I was so close to clicking Knockoff plus Sludge Bomb into the Urshifu slot, but I didn't because I was like, I could get punished if I go for this read if his like Urshifu lives or something and then like Wicked Blows and then he like Ivy Cudgels or something. So I'm like, I'm just gonna play it safe, go for Tailwind, Earth Power. I do that. Whimsicott comes in, he protects Ogerpon, so I got that call right. Okay. So now I'm in a good position.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't crit me, I click Sludge Bomb into Whimsicott, and then did I click Sludge Bomb? No. I click Sludge Bomb into Ogerpon. He Ivy Cudgels me, doesn't get the crit. I kill his Ogerpon. I get to click Breaking Swipe. Urshifu comes in on his side. I click Knockoff into the Urshifu.
Okay.
Did I click Knockoff into Urshifu or did I click Breaking Swipe? I did click Knockoff. Yeah, I clicked Knockoff.
Regardless, right? Like you just played this game, you are in control. Like that.
I clicked Knockoff into Urshifu, hard swapped Landorus into Incineroar, and then he removes my Roaring Moon, and I get back at Gholdengo, and I realized, okay, with this backline, he either has Indeedee or Flutter Mane, but it's probably Flutter Mane. So I decided to go for Fake Out plus Make It Rain, and Terra Fairy, just in case if he has that Indeedee in the back.
Yeah.
So I get the Fake Out off. He goes for Moonblast into my Gholdengo. Does not get the special attack drop. I get a double KO this turn. Nice. Flutter Mane comes out. I'm like, I should win as long as he doesn't get any crits. So I go for Make It Rain, Parting Shot. No, I go for Make It Rain, Flare Blitz. So I Make It Rain, Flare Blitz. He goes for Dazzling Gleam, doesn't crit. Make It Rain, Okos, and we go to game 2. And then game 2, I was like fairly confident that he was going to lead Iron Crown. I'm like, I think he's going to go Iron Crown and try to get like some Calm Minds off. So I lead Roaring Moon, Gholdengo. Okay. No, I lead Roaring Moon, Landorus. And immediately I get super duper far ahead. And because now I can just spam Sandseer and like knock off, and he can't do damage. And I also Terra Steel on my Landorus.
That's the reason if you need to.
So I'm able to just keep clicking Sandseer doing damage. And there was this one turn that I got like right that swung the game immediately in my favor, which is where I had a feeling that he was going to swap Indeedee to Whimsicott and protect Iron Crown to dodge an Earth Power or Sandseer because he was in range. Yeah. So I went for knockoff Sludge Bomb into the Indeedee, which not only was a good call for the Whimsicott, but it also covered for the Indeedee staying in. Because if I knock off Indeedee, Sludge Bomb then goes into the Iron Crown, which should have killed from the range it was at. So it was like a very safe play for me to do.
So it was big.
That wasn't like punished. So after that, I knew the game was kind of over because he just didn't have any defenses or anything to get through like what I had left.
Yeah, man. So again, now 9-0. So now we're cooking. And again, like I feel bad because you have the cough. So if you want to like go faster, feel free.
Nah, that's fine.
But so now we got Brendan and we got this Bolts team here. It's a little different. It's more of like a setup kind of style balance team.
This one was a bit tricky because Pat played him day one on side stream, so there was additional mind games. So
Okay.
game one, I lost, but I was kind of fine with that, mainly because I was just trying to get a read on how Brendan played, and then
Yeah.
also how he was going to approach the matchup coming into me. So, if you notice, I kind of play a little funky in game one. That's mainly because I'm just trying to see how he's going to approach. Because I do have this like belief sometimes where it's like it's okay to lose the game one, if you can win games 2 and 3 because now you got a better understanding of your opponent and you can play better into them.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured out how Brendan wanted to play it, where he plays very safe and tries to find very calculated turns. So like game 2, there was a board state where I clicked Spore and he taunted my Gus, and it would have been very easy for him to click Flare Blitz into my Amoonguss. But I was sitting there and I'm like, I don't think he is going to click Flare Blitz into my Amoonguss, because if he clicks Flare Blitz into my Amoonguss and I swap to like Urshifu or Landorus, he doesn't really gain much. And like it's so obvious for me to be able to swap out my Amoonguss in the sports state. I think he's going to click Knockoff. So I stay in with my Amoonguss, risking the entire game on this turn, and I see Icy Wind come out and Knockoff, and I'm like, huge. And so now I'm able to just do a bunch of burst damage to his team and get through it.
Yeah.
And then there was one turn that I got right where I called that he wasn't going to power whip my Urshifu with his cornerstone. I had a feeling he was going to double Amoonguss because he needed the crit on Amoonguss to be able to win the game, because he needs to get rid of Amoonguss if he wants to win, because I had too much HP. So I went for close combat to guarantee that it went down to Aqua Jet range. And then I was able to jet it, and then the Urshifu was asleep, and I went from there. And then game 3, I identified that I wanted to win with Tailwind plus Gholdengo, because I think Brendan wasn't going to be expecting me to lean into that this time.
Yeah.
And it ended up working out, especially when I was able to just get the Tailwind off and clean up. I think there was a couple turns that I could have played differently, but I think overall was fine. There was one turn where it looked like Earth Power was probably a roll into the Gholdengo, and you may be like, well, if the Gholdengo lived, like, don't you lose? And I'm going to say no, because the thing is so he has to get a Make It Rain off. I knocked off his Metal Coat, which it probably kills Landorus from that range. I'm not sure. It depends on his special attack investment.
Yeah.
Especially after I remove the Metal Coat. But his Gholdengo would have been at such low HP. He has Gholdengo, full HP Incin, and 1 HP Cornerstone. So it should be guaranteed for me, because I can always just Surging Strikes into the Gholdengo slot to remove it. He's never going to do enough damage, and Cornerstone's in range of Aqua Jet, so I can just Aqua Jet the Cornerstone to remove it. So as long as I don't get Cornerstone plus Urshifu, Cornerstone plus Incin in front of my Urshifu that doesn't have Protect, like I use Protect or something, I should be fine.
Yeah.
So even if the Earth Power didn't kill, I was still very confident I probably won the set. But it was just nice that it killed anyways, because it just guaranteed it and sealed it up.
Which makes a lot of sense. Like I think the way I want to give you credit, because the way you walk through these games is very like your memory is fucking insane, which I want to give you credit for. I feel like I don't know how you memorize all this like so deeply. So I give you credit, man. I give you credit. But yeah, man. So I guess what would you do if you were like someone playing against a team, like a balanced version like this? How would you approach it?
If I were to reapproach it, I'd probably lean more into Gholdengo a bit more, but I would also try to more aggressively position my Landorus. Because I think Landorus is very, very strong into Brendan's team. It's just a matter of getting the positioning correct. So maybe a lead that I would have probably considered was like Landorus Roaring Moon. But one of the reasons why I didn't lead it is because Brendan was also leading Incineroar, Urshifu, Urshifu, Fluttermane into Patrick. So there was that additional context.
The mind of the previous matchups are always like add a layer to it, like every single, of course.
Yeah. So mainly in this, I just tried to clean up my play in order to be able to win games 2 and 3 after game 1, just trying to see how Brendan was going to approach it.
Yeah, which is valid. So yeah, man. So now you're still undefeated, and now you're playing against Norah Bowman.
This matchup was stressful.
Bug Heatran, bro. We got Bug Heatran.
Yeah, this one was hard mainly because of the Heatran. Otherwise, everything else is very, very doable. Game 1, she led Heatran plus Ogerpaw Wellspring, and I figured, well, she's probably not going to go for Follow Me with Wellspring, so I'm going to go for Knockoff and Shadow Ball and a Heatran, which I'm like, I don't think this kills, but it probably gets close. And this is where I think a lot of the information mind game came in, because it was like, so after I did that, I was very scared of bringing in my Landorus immediately because I thought her Ogerpon was going to be faster than my Landorus.
Yeah.
It's actually slower. So it's a slow, bulky Ogerpon. So so it ended up coming up. And there was this one turn where I probably could have won if I went for Breaking Swipe, but I thought she was going to Thunderclap my my Roaring Moon. She didn't. She instead Wicked Blowed the Roaring Moon. So I got into an end game where it was just Sucker Punch mind games, and I'm just like, I didn't really want to play to it, like, and just stall a bunch of turns. So I'm like, she's been like kind of getting some hard reads right. So I'm just gonna go for Earth Power, and it's like if she overreads, she overreads. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. But I could just adjust game 2. So she does that. She just clicks Sucker Punch, kills my Landorus. So I'm like, oh well.
Okay. Yeah.
So then we go to game 2. Game 2, I lead Urshifu Roaring Moon because I had a feeling that was probably going to be better into the original lead she had, just to pressure down Terra.
Yeah.
And she goes, what was it? Heatran, Dark Ursh, and I was able to get pretty far ahead, and we get to a board state where it's Raging Bolt at low HP, Heatran, my Gholdengo, Heatran, that's about at 50%.
Okay.
About at 50%. My Gholdengo, my Landorus at full HP, low HP Raging Bolt, and Ogerpon in the back. So I was like thinking through the turn and like how I should approach. And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure she's gonna like save her Ogerpon's HP because she doesn't want to risk anything. So she's just gonna Thunderclap Gholdengo, sack Raging Bolt, bring in Ogerpon Wellspring. So she sacks Raging Bolt, Thunderclaps, protects Heatran. Ogerpon Wellspring comes out, and so I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I know it's slower.
Yep, you know.
And there's a couple ways that she can play this endgame, and I'm like, I think she's gonna try and like Horn Leech my Landorus. And I also thought about it because I'm like, she's number one. I think she's gonna either Horn Leech or Ivy Cudgel my Landorus, and since I know her Ogerpon's slower than Landorus, it's probably EV'd to survive Sludge Bomb. So what I can do is I can protect my Landorus, make it rain, put the Ogerpon in range of Sludge Bomb, and kill the Heatran. So I should be able to win from that position. So I protect Landorus, Horn Leech comes out into the Landorus, Make It Rain comes out, kills the Heatran. It does crit, but I don't think it mattered from the range it was at because the range calcs afterward.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't. And then from there, like it was game over because I just clicked Sludge Bomb and the game ends. I think game 3, I get a little lazy and I lead Urshifu again when I probably should have led Landorus. And I should have kept in mind if she was bringing the same 4, I probably should have tried to force her Terra a bit more. So I was playing a bit too passive.
Yeah.
I think this is also a little bit for me just coming off of stream set and like trying to adjust back into the game after being on stream. Like that's like a real thing that happens with players.
Oh, yeah.
On the stuff so it's like just trying to refocus after being on stage with all the people watching you and stuff. But that's no excuse for the set because we still have the game to play and stuff, right? So I think I played a little too safe in the early turns, but we get to a board state where I go for Sandseer Storm, and the Ogerpon lives on like 1 HP from like the Sandseer, and I go for Make It Rain, and the Heatran's at like 60, 70%. And it's like it's like 60, 70%. I go for Make It Rain, and I'm like, I think I can win this because I know she has Dark Urshifu in the back. If she has Dark Urshifu in the back, then it's like some reads in order to get like back into the game. It's like whether you Wicked Blow my Dango or not. Like I think the Heatran after the Make It Rain should be in Sludge Bomb range. Maybe I have like low HP Roaring Moon in the back, but then my Gholdengo just crits the Make It Rain and kills the Terrabug Heatran.
Boom.
So I'm like, okay, that worked out.
Yeah, we take those.
I did feel bad about it, but I was like, I think there was ways I could approach this matchup better. and it was definitely probably leading Landorus in that game 3 and not being lazy on that turn 1. But I think it's but yeah, like overall, I think this matchup's like a little tricky, but I think I needed to do a better job at forcing the Terra on her end. And then after finding out the water pond was slower, I probably should have led Landorus because I don't think that was clicking in my head that the water pond was slower than my Landorus. Because by it being slower than my Landorus is stronger on lead into her water ogre pond. So that's probably what I needed to play to more. Because I identified that like immediately after the set. So it's like just little improvements here or there that I probably needed to do, but otherwise it was a good game.
And it's so clean, like you played it very cleanly too. So it's like again, like you're still like in these awkward spots. Like, hey, the crits always help, right? That's just lit. The crits always help.
Yeah, but I would still try and prefer to not win with them, like if I can, because I want it to be like a nice, like back and forth.
Played to your best. I mean that makes sense. That makes sense.
So like those are like the little things. Then the next one's my only loss, Aaron Brok. This is the 4th time we've played in probably like the past 6 months. So we played at Worlds, Portland, Vegas, and now Toronto.
Wow.
We're 2-2 currently. Because I won in Worlds in Portland, he won in Vegas and Toronto.
Okay.
And so I kept telling him, I'm like, bro, we got to finish the best of 5 sometime. That's all I'm saying. Like we got to finish it the next tournament.
Yeah.
So this match was like pretty close, mainly just because we played so many times and like we both like kind of know each other's play styles now.
Yeah.
Game 1, I brought the wrong Pokemon. I thought he was going to lean more into the Cresselia Ursaluna mode.
Okay.
So I led Gholdengo Roaring Moon with like Urshifu Incin, but he just went into his offensive balance mode, which is like Specs Flutter with his Urshifu, Incin, and Rocky Helmet Amoonguss. And I just I was running out of resources too quickly, and I didn't have enough in the end game or tailwind turns for the Flutter main to be able to win.
Yeah.
So I realized game 2 I needed to adjust to Amoonguss. And game 2 was really, really close. There was 2 turns where I messed up and I should have trusted my gut, where there was a turn where I should have faked out his Amoonguss and sludge bombed his Flutter main, calling the 1 HP Grass Incineroar swap.
Yeah.
But instead, I clicked Flare Blitz into the Amoonguss, knowing that the Incineroar was going to swap. If I clicked Fake Out, I could have avoided putting my Incineroar to sleep and been in a better position for the end game. But instead, I'm letting my Incineroar go to sleep and take sleep turns.
Yeah.
And then another turn was I should have just clicked Sludge Bomb with my Amoonguss because my Amoonguss should live the double up of Shadow Ball plus Sludge Bomb. But I protected, which was very greedy of me, and Brok punished it by doubling my sleeping Incineroar with Shadow Ball plus Sludge Bomb. So there was that. But I was still in a winning position because his Amoonguss was like at 10 HP, and my Amoonguss was like at like 35%, and I was out of range of his Sludge Bomb. So the only way he could win is if he crits Sludge Bomb, and he crits Sludge Bomb. I'm like, and he's like, I think you had the win though if you just did this and this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I think I just like overthought it and stuff.
Yeah.
There was definitely like a guaranteed line for me to win that game 2, which I could have been able to force a game 3. But I was fine with this loss because I was able to get a break before cut, see what I'm facing.
And the big picture, it only mattered for the aura. Like it didn't affect, I guess, your run maybe in that way, right? Or like
I was not really. It only kind of affected who I played, and even then, I think I got a more favorable bracket from it, so I'm not too upset. So
okay. Yeah, no, we take those. We take those.
Yeah. So it ended up working out.
Bye week. So now talk to me how this experience is. Like bye week, like we get the top cut.
I think buys are weird. I think it's really easy to lose your focus during a buy.
Yeah.
Which is what I learned when at Portland. It's like really easy to just kind of let stuff slip away from you when you have a buy because it's like an hour. Like it's literally like an hour of you waiting. Yeah. And they also decided to stream all of top 8. So it's like I'm waiting because
that's a new thing now, yeah.
So I'm like now like what the 3rd match. So I'm having to wait like an hour and 30 minutes for like all the matches to start for them to get everyone ready for cut. Wait for top 16 to finish as well.
It's a big wait, yeah.
Like, so that adds to it. So it's like I just try to maintain my focus, think on the matchups, and not overthink. I also tried to get away from the crowd. I think it's important to kind of like be by yourself, focus, recenter. Yeah. So yeah. So after the bye, was top 8, and that was versus Kylan Van Severen, which I was
Another Dondito.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about it, but I was fairly confident with my game plan, which it was I was very, very confident that Kylan was going to lead Chiyu Flutter and have Dozo Tatsu for game 1, which I was correct. And I got some help from William Brown in terms of like how
Kylan, man.
Yeah, love William. And he was able to kind of tell me what the general spreads of some of the stuff were based on the way that he played into it with his team. And I was like, okay, that was really good information. But I figured Kylan would play it very standard with his Dozo from what I was seeing how he likes to play.
Yeah.
So I just try to make very calculated risk plays in order to try and force myself ahead of the game, especially when I was able to get my Amoonguss in versus his Dondozo, or when I made the aggressive swap from my Incineroar to Landorus, calling an Earthquake, calling my Terrafire on Urshifu. So, like, there was one turn where you could argue, like, oh, if he gets the turn 1 Wake Up, you probably lose. And, like, you're probably right, but the calculated risk I get by but it's like a calculated risk I was taking, because if I'm able to kill his Dondozo and put his Tatsugiri to sleep, I basically win on the spot, because there's not much he can do. So I was like, I'm going to take a risk here on the fact that he's not going to get a turn 1 Wake Up.
Okay.
And he doesn't. So I'm able to win
from
that.
Yeah.
And I'm able to win from that and like steamroll the rest of the game. Then we go to game 2, and I had a feeling he was going to bring Glamora. And then if he brings Glamora, he's probably going to lean into his non-Dozo core. Which I was right, and it just came to a matter of preserving Terrafire Urshifu for the end game and getting the correct positioning, which I was able to accomplish. Now I watched Kylan's team report, and he said if he should have brought Tatsugiri in game 2, because he probably just wins if he gets Tatsugiri next to Chiyu, which I slightly disagreed with, mainly because yes, I saw what he was saying, where it's like if you get Tatsu plus Chiyu on the board, you're in a really good spot versus my Terrafire Urshifu, my Landorus, Incineroar, and Amoonguss. But my thought was, okay, what are you dropping for Tatsu? You're either dropping Fluttermane, which lets Roaring Moon run away with the game if I decide to bring it. You're either dropping Chiyu. You're probably not dropping Chiyu because you need Chiyu. You're dropping Raging Bolt, which is how you beat my Urshifu and pressure down the Terra, or you're dropping down Glamora, which is Meteor Beam. So, like, my thought is like, I don't know what he swaps for
he's
that.
Take out for it,
right. And I still have tools in order to be able to position myself around that. And I figured like he would, and it's really easy to say like, oh, I should have brought Tatsu after the fact, when it's like I could argue that I could bring Roaring Moon in game 2 or something like that. It's just like little things like that, but I see where he's coming from in terms of his perspective on the set. There was also a board state where he was like, oh, I should have Dragon Pulsed the Landorus when he like thunderclapped my -1 Urshifu, because like I guess the swap's obvious, but like I was playing very confident versus Kylan game 1, so I figured he would try and call that out game 2, especially when if I just click Sandseer plus Close Combat and remove his Raging Bolt, he literally has no pieces left to beat my Terrafire Urshifu.
Yeah, that's true. Like, so all I'm hearing is when's the rematch?
No. It's just like I can see where Kylan's coming from his perspective on the match. It's just like I just
want
to say my perspective.
Yeah, because he's always going to look for a way where, okay, I could have done this if this happened, and you're going to get
I mean, don't we all?
Exactly.
And, once again, not trying to diss on anybody or say anything bad. It's just like I'm trying to analyze the game from
his
my opponent's perspective and see like what his thoughts were on it. I think this matchup's pretty favorable, mainly because of Amoonguss. If you could get Amoonguss in the right spot, you can kind of just sweep. Same thing with Landorus. Landorus is also absurd into this team. I just think one factor that makes it a little scary is that it's timid Chiyu. So it's faster than the Landorus. But we never got to a board state where he's able to kind of show that. Because my Landorus, he either protected in front of it or my Landorus always had a speed drop on it. So I wasn't able to do much.
Yeah. So I guess going into matchups like Dozo, like what are some good game plans you feel like would be effective?
Lean into Amoonguss and Landorus in any matchup where they don't have like booster speed Flutter. You can often just bring Roaring Moon, and it's like very, very easy. But even with Booster Speed Flutter, you can bring Roaring Moon. It's just a matter of positioning. And Roaring Moon does give you a lot of better board states versus certain things.
Yeah. True. And should you always assume that you're slower than their Flutter? Okay.
If they're that set, yeah.
Yeah. Valid.
But most of the time, most likely, yeah. Because like they need the speed, in my opinion.
True. All right, bet, bro. So now we're in top 4 versus Jack Clarke, the fellow Grim Snarly and man.
So,
yeah, I remember watching this one. I enjoyed watching on stream because I was like, this will be a fun one to enjoy for me.
I think game 1 I messed up a bit. I kept trying to overread too much into Jack, and I also think I clicked Sandseer Storm way too much.
Yeah. That one turn where you should have powered that one turn, right?
Yeah, there was that turn. There was also a turn where I clicked Knockoff into Grimmsnarl because I thought Jack was going to swap in Gholdengo on that slot.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I probably should have protected. Another turn was like I probably should have not Terra'd my Roaring Moon. I probably should have just like clicked Knockoff or Sludge Bomb or something. So it's just like little things.
Yeah.
But once again, I was able to gain really good information from game 1 on how Jack was going to play, which he played it somewhat standard. Like there wasn't like a lot of hard reads to it. I also learned that I shouldn't bring Amoonguss because when we were planning in the pregame, we didn't think Jack was going to bring Amoonguss. I mean, not Amoonguss. We didn't think Jack was going to bring Gholdengo because Gholdengo seems really bad into our team. But then he ended up bringing it, and we were like, "Oh,
this is interesting.
This got weird." So there was that. So Amoonguss just became like a dead slot, and I was like, "Well, that's awesome." There was one turn where if my Roaring Moon doesn't get paralyzed, I probably still have a chance, but overall probably not. Mainly just because of the para. Yeah. So it's like it's pretty but like so game 1, I think I was just like I think I was overreading too much and getting a little greedy, and I was playing a bit sloppy, which I'm glad I identified going into game 2 and 3. Game 2 was way closer than it should have been because of a double protect on the Gholdengo and the crit Horn Leech on my Roaring Moon. I identified that Gholdengo is really, really good into Jack's team as long as I get it positioned properly and lock it into the right move.
Yeah.
So it just came down to a matter of getting that right. Luckily, I had enough tailwind turns to where I could recover from the double protect and still be able to win. So that was huge. And so I was able to take it to a game 3. And then game 3, there was one turn that I think I could have played better out of that game 3. And that was the turn where I went for Make It Rain for a third time with Gholdengo. I probably should have swapped out the Ursh.
Yeah.
But even though I could have swapped out the Ursh, and like I heard some people saying like, oh, why didn't Jack Horn Leech the Gholdengo slot calling like an Urshifu swap? And I'm like, I don't know. I had a feeling, like I just had like a gut feeling that Jack was going to double my Roaring Moon instead. Because if he removes Roaring Moon, he kind of wins the game in a lot of ways. Also, if what I could do is, so his Ogerpon's a +1, right? If I click Breaking Swipe into his Ogerpon and it goes back down to neutral, Horn Leech into Make It Rain, I don't think KOs my Urshifu. So it's
okay.
So it makes more sense from Jack's end to try and check out my my Roaring Moon if he can, because it's the biggest threat on the board and it's posing the most presence. So that's the main reason why. But
okay.
So that was the main thing.
Yeah, and then game 3.
Yeah, that was the game 3.
No, I'm saying like you looking back, like I feel like the way you started off the set, I enjoyed watching this one because after game 1, I was like, oh shit, this looks like weird. But then you really figured it out. Like I feel like that was one of those matches when you were on the stream where I was like, it looked like a beginning to end, like a learning, like you figure this shit out kind of thing.
I will say, I'm gonna be honest. A lot of this team, I was kind of learning on the fly throughout the run.
Yeah,
I had a lot of familiarity with it from practice, but it was also like I wasn't sure how to approach certain matchups. So a lot of it was like game 1, let's test, see what I could do, what I should be bringing, and then game 2 and 3 win out if I lose game 1.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing, because this team has a lot of weird lines and ways you should play.
Yeah, there's not even like I would assume the Ogerpon would be some kind of like redirections kind of set on this team, but no, it's just like
it's sword stance. Yeah,
goes straight set up screens and just boom.
I was surprised Jack never brought Dogi, but I still had a plan if he did bring Dogi, which was just a hard swap in Landorus.
Yeah, you have Landorus hard. It's hard to justify into your team.
Yeah, exactly. I had a lot of tools that Jack changed it up, so I wasn't too worried about my brings after the fact.
Yeah, once we learned the Amoonguss stuff, it made it a lot clearer. And then now we have the finals, your biggest match of your life versus Mr. Paulius Chuius, where you actually like. I have a Discord for my community, the McFree Mafia, as you know. We have like over 250 people in the Discord, and everyone is just like, I've never seen a finals this one-sided. Even though I'm not saying it was like anything bad, but everyone was just like, because I guess to a lot of newer players that maybe don't know who you are or who Paul is, they're just like, that was the craziest beatdown they've ever seen in the finals. And I was like,
so this is probably the calmest I've ever been going into a match. I was very focused. I knew my game plan. I was very comfortable because so here's the thing. I was already very familiar with bolt balance from the get-go because this is what I was actually starting on in Reg F Part 2. I was playing with a bunch of size spam and specifically crown spam and bolt balance, and I eventually dropped it for this team. So I was very comfortable with the calls and the reads into bolt balance usually. And so I had a good grasp on how Paul was going to approach it. I've also watched a lot of Paul's games, so I know he likes to play.
Oh, the balance god, bro. Yeah, balance god.
Yeah. So I had a feeling on how he was going to approach where I figured game one, he was going to lean more into the Hearthflame mode and try to catch me off guard, and then lean into Bolt mode game two. Because I led Amoonguss Urshifu, which I think is a lead that he wasn't expecting.
What do you think he expected you to lead?
Probably Landorus, which is why I'm assuming he led that. Either Landorus or like Roaring Moon or something like that. Or Gholdengo. So it's like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it just came down to, so I led that, and as soon as I saw Hearthflame Blooderman, I knew I was in a really good spot as long as I could either get rid of the Hearthflame on turn one or put it into Aqua Jet range. I did end up getting the roll. So depending on what his spread is, if it's the 36 HP 4/4 spread, it's like a 45% chance to Oko with Surging Strike. So basically like a coin flip almost.
Yeah.
Or if he's just max Ogerpon, it's like a 60% chance, which then is like in my favor to kill. Okay. So I was pretty confident that I was like, I'm either killing or putting it in range of Aqua Jet this turn, which luckily I was able to get the kill. And then I knew as soon as I got rid of Hearthflame, it was going to be pretty smooth sailing. I was surprised Paul never brought the Urshifu, but I also think it makes sense because I have Rocky Helmet, Instant, and Amoonguss.
Yeah. And your own Urshi, like you have a lot of
and my own Urshifus. But like I feel like he needs to bring his own Urshifu to check my Urshifu because Terra Fire is just so strong
in
into this matchup.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that. But so after that, I figured after I got rid of the Hearthflame and I got the read right on the Fluttermane protecting, and I just blitzed the Rillaboom, I figured I was far enough ahead to probably win the game from there as long as I don't get paralyzed. Which the crit on Fluttermane did not end up mattering because I got the Sludge Bomb off and on Amoonguss anyway, so it would have KO'd the Flutter if not for the crit close combat. Game two is where a lot of people say I played a little weird, and I have a reasoning for that. So a lot of people said like, oh, why are you sporing so much into the Raging Bolt, or like why did you not into the Raging Bolt, into the Rillaboom, and why did you Sludge Bomb into the Raging Bolt, the obvious protect? So my theory behind that was this. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, the only way Paul could really gain momentum by get back into this game is to hard swap Incineroar, which doesn't have safety goggles, on Rillaboom, so he can have fake up pressure. Yeah. So it's like if I could just get a Spore onto the Incin, then he's kind of just in a losing position. Like there's almost nothing else he can do.
Yes.
So there's that. Then I was also thinking, I'm like, in what world would Paul swap Rillaboom into Ogerpon on a possible Sludge Bomb? Because if he gets Sludge Bomb into Sludge Bomb Poison, I don't know how he comes back.
Yeah, there's no shot.
So it's like I felt very confident in sporing that slot consistently. Also because the Bolt wasn't doing too much.
Yeah.
But I think definitely one of the big key turns was getting off a lot of chip into the Bolt early with the Sludge Bomb read into the Terra Fairy Bolt, which I felt very confident that Paul was going to go for, because if I just Earth Power his Bolt, it dies, but he also needs like HP for it to stick on the board. So I'm like, I'm just going to go rip a Sludge Bomb here. Worst case scenario, that I could still like reposition and still find a way to win. So is that. I did get a bit lucky with the Sludge Bomb poison on the Ogre Pond Hearthlane, but I think the game was still locked from there. Like, it's very hard for Paul to be able to get into a winning position from that point because I just still had all of my resources left. So, yeah. That was that game. I wasn't like too worried about it. I just tried to play my game and play it the best I could. So, people were also kind of confused by the Terrasteel Landorus. I was trying to bait the Thunderclap. I had a feeling that Paul was going to Thunderclap on that one turn I hard swapped.
Yeah.
Which I was able to get that read right there. So that was like huge.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like that was like one of the cleanest games I've seen. So, like that, you played that very cleanly, very well. So good, like in the biggest moment, which was very impressive. So, dude, one again, like I feel like in the matchup, I feel like again, like you already talked about this kind of matchup already, so I don't need to kind of go into it again unless you want to. Unless what to bring into that.
It's the same thing as I mentioned before with Seawolf Max. So
that's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, man, dude, you're a freaking regional champion, man, and thank you so much for breaking this down. I have to ask you one last question though. In these past 2 years, I would say you're one of the players that has maybe grown the most in NA. Like you're definitely up there. From just starting the day 2 to top 4ing last year to going deep, having a good Worlds run and now winning a regional championship, man. So as a friend, proud of you. So good job. But yeah, of course, bro. I got you. But I remember you being in my vlog in Portland. But after that, man, just like, what advice do you have to the player who wants to be the next Cary? You're just starting college. Like you're pretty young in the space. I feel like you have a great friend group now. Like you are like a very picturesque, player of like what Pokemon should be like for a player. Coming in, having a good community, having those friends to play with, grow with, an international now. You've grown well. You've performed well at the biggest stage. Like, what advice do you have to the person who is just starting out and wants to be the next Cary D'Ortona?
I think the best way to approach it is I kind of approached it how I approach school, which is like you study. So it's like I would like review games. I would try and find locals that were being streamed to watch that. I also grinded Showdown a lot early on, but I don't entirely recommend that because it develops an unhealthy relationship with the game. In my opinion. No, like it can. Like I've gone on like spirals from that, like where I'm just like doom spiraling because I like lost a bunch of games in the row and I'm like, oh, I suck. But it's like it's really easy to get into one of those when it's probably just like you're just not playing well in the moment. So it's like, and you're not, because like on Showdown it's really easy to click buttons. But my advice is it's like you treat it like school, you study, you review, you self like check, like you observe yourself, see what you could do to improve, and then it's like incremental, like it adds up over time.
Yeah.
Because that's like the main thing I would advise.
Yeah, man. And guys, like I gotta recommend you all use this team to learn. Watch this team report to see how you can play games. And again, I just want to say thank you again, bro. Like I know you're not feeling well, so
it's all good.
I wanted to do this last week, but bro, had that championship sickness. But yeah, guys, I would watch out for Cary, man. He's gonna be a stud. And again, if you guys want to watch more videos like this, let me know in the comments. I just did a team report. So if you want to watch that video, I'll put it over Cary's head. And if you want to watch the team episode 1 of my team building series, watch it on my head right here. But thank you guys. Thank you again, Cary. Appreciate you, man. Also, I'll see you guys later, man.
No problem. Peace out.